What a week it's been, huh? Lost to the Lions. Special teams has been failing us. But we have Lynn here. And Lynn is going to cheer us up because everyone loves Lynn. This show is she's the guest of this show. She's the star of this show. So let's bring her out. Let's get this shit started with Lynn, the lowdown with Lynn Hayden. Lynn, I got to tell you, it's a solemn week. It's hard to talk about the Bears, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's funny, Dan, because a week ago, we got a loss 35-32, and everybody was talking like we won that game, and everybody was like, oh, the future, blah, 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 blah. And then Detroit comes along, which we all thought we should have won, which we should have. And now it's like, and back to reality again. Although, that's the thing is it's, I've said in the beginning of the season, they got to win. They got to beat the teams that they should beat. And Detroit was one of them. They're worse than the Bears. Mm-hmm. They had one good quarter in that game, and that was it. And we helped them pretty much. We gave it to them. Mm-hmm. So that's what was disheartening for everybody, that how we lost that game when we were up at one point, 24-10?
Yeah.
Going in the fourth quarter. And that's when the bottom fell out. And I felt like I did prior to this season, all the other seasons. Like, here we go again. That's how I felt, because that fourth quarter looked like the old Bears. Stupid mistakes, I'm like, what is going on? So,
Cliff says the future is so bright, I got to wear shades.
Well, he's right. He's very right. I mean, I got to go on what I say all the time on my show is that, we know it's up and down season, up and down, and I get that. And I want improvement. We've talked about this, Danny, you and I. So as long as we get improvement each week, we're cool with it. But that game, 3 quarters great.
About the refs.
Right. Well, the refs. I mean,
sick of talking about it. And then I was bitching all about the refs on Monday night, and then I turned on the Eagles game, and they get robbed on a face mask, a blatant face mask that clearly injured.
And he was right there. I was watching the game. The guy was right there. How he missed that? See, you wonder. It's just like, people are now, there's a lot of conspiracy theories going on about the betting. And now that it's legal everywhere. And that makes me really, really sad because, people have talked about that for years. But now you're like, And you know what? It better not be true, because I'll tell you what, those freaking refs make a lot of fucking money. People don't realize how much they make. And they usually most of them have other jobs. And so
another stat that I heard is a lot of them are like lawyers and doctors. And
yes.
Are making a lot of money.
Exactly. So it's like, if it's
and
that,
you know what? Look on the face of during the Dolphins game when Claypool was being mugged at that last play. Well, that should have been a PI or a pass interference. And the guy is 5 feet from him, just standing there like with a smug look on his face. And then we saw it again this week. And, Cole Kmet had a similar play against him. And I mean,
I couldn't believe that. I'm like, how does that? Even the announcers, when the announcers are saying it, it's bad because they usually keep their mouth shut. They try to stay, 500. Are you waving at me?
No, I'm waving at my Josh Wangler. Hi, Dan, Kitty, and Lynn.
Hi, Josh.
Are you waving at me? Hi, Kitty.
I know. I'm like,
hi, Lynn. I'm right
here. Shoot, what were we just talking about?
I forgot we're live. We're talking about the penalties and
yes, I mean those penalties. All right, so the fourth quarter, that one drive that I think completely turned it around. And where they went down the field and they got 4 penalties on that drive on the defense. 2 of them were us. 2 of them I think were bullshit. but that changed the comp. And what I say is the Bears, yeah, they were bullshit, but like Gordon, for example, don't put yourself in that position to hit the quarter, even come close to the quarterback on the sidelines, because you know they're going to throw that damn flag. So what he was trying to do, I get, great, punch that ball out, but you were too close to this. So don't put yourselves in the position to even make it a questionable call. So especially moving forward, knowing the crap that we are not getting or we're getting. We're not getting the calls and we're getting the calls, the bad calls.
What does the peanut punch do in that situation, right? It just punches the ball out of bounds anyway. So just back the fuck off of him. I like your point to that.
That's exactly it.
You make an argument for that. Like, just don't even put yourself in that situation. I get it.
Don't. And the same with JJ on that, supposable hands to the face. Don't even raise your hands close. Just do block them, tackle them like you should. Wrap them up and get them out of there. Don't. Right. So the Bears have to be very careful moving forward, and then you can't control the non-calls like the Cole Kmet one, which was so blatant. Another week where we have a blatant pass interference and they don't call it. I mean, how they missed him. He was all by himself there. And when he got hit, there wasn't no. So it's not like they were shadowed by other players. Everybody in the world saw that. And it was just, so those penalties, when that happened, and then they went down and scored. It was now it was 24-17. If those penalties don't happen, and they don't even get that far, they punt the ball. Fields does not throw that interception.
Right.
It's not going to happen.
By the way, on that interception, when you're looking at the camera angle from behind the play, Fields is being tracked down by a defender who starts to wrap him up by his legs, and then he throws the ball.
Yep.
And then right after that, another defender comes in and shoves him to the ground with all of his force, causing his already forward motion to go slamming to the ground like that. To me, I mean, you go back when they started calling all of these these personal fouls against the quarterbacks.
Yeah.
They were taking every single play like that into account. And
yes.
Now we go to the Justin Fields era of the Bears, going back to last year. And it's just like he's not getting those calls. And I feel like they're treating quarterbacks who have the ability to run and therefore do. Even on the situations where they're playing quarterback and not running.
Right.
It almost seems like they're treating them more like a running back. And it's
I agree with you on that. Definitely. And the Bears aren't like, we don't have Aaron Rodgers, we don't have Tom Brady. Those guys get the calls every single time. And what does this say? I got to call the penalty for breath. They couldn't call through the passer.
Jay Capone Dadon says, if you're going to call the penalty for golf, they could have called roughing the passer for JF1 on the last drive. Exactly.
Yes. See, so, you're like, okay, this is just not fair. And I hate to say it because that sounds like a child thing to say, but it's the truth. It's been going on all season, and it's not one game. It's a handful of games, and that changed the whole complexity of that game. That interception, then it's tied, and then I knew in my gut, I said, this is not going to be good, especially when he Santos missed that extra point when it was 30. I thought we're going to lose by one damn point. I mean, I knew it. It was like you're just getting the flashbacks of all the other seasons. Here we go again. A kicker, and you know what? I want to point out about Santos. I like the guy, but he did earlier in the day. That's not my point, but he did kick out of bounds, and he also had a penalty for that. You can't be kicking out of bounds. This is the NFL, okay? Right. Not college, not peewee, the NFL. Right. But the thing is, you think back to last year when he was going for his 31st, or he was on a 30 streak field goals, right? Mm-hmm. And fucking, I'm not going to say his name, the guy with the bald head and the visor, put him out there for a 62-yard field goal. What the hell? And then he's never really been quite on like he was after that.
You're right. Since that
he lost his whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's it. And that's it. And it's like, that idiot still is haunting us.
Yeah, don't make me play a soundbite, please.
Oh my God. But it was tough because, Unfortunately, it should have come down to that. We should have won that game. You score 30 points. You should be winning those games.
Yeah. I mean, we've been scoring 30 points for what now? 4 games in a row?
The 4 games, yes. And what did I say up until last week? In 3 games alone, they had scored 97. I didn't add it up, but still, it's what's it? 190? I mean, 137 or something, or 27 that we scored in 4 games. And we did 93 in the previous 6 games, 6 games. So, obviously the offense is going, and we get it. We love it. But,
it's all the running, because Justin just keeps breaking his own records.
And he does.
If you remember, there was a run a few weeks ago that was called back because of a holding. And that was just as long as the one 2 weeks ago against the Dolphins. He could have very well broken his own record then, and then broken it again in this last game.
Right.
I mean, shit, he could have an 80-yarder next week and break it again. That's the kind of roll he's on. But I don't want to see him.
No.
Can't keep running the ball like that.
I agree. I don't really care about these records. And he even said it too. He goes, I want to win, and these records are great, but they're not W's. And it's not really doing much for anybody except for the record books for him in the future. But, and we didn't sign him to be a runner, So who said that? Was it not who said it?
Trent Dilfer?
Not him. There was somebody else I saw yesterday on one of them, the NFL channel or ESPN. But
I know what you're talking about. I remember the quote. He wasn't. They didn't draft him to be a running back.
Right. Yeah. And he's like, he's got to start getting his passing yards going. You're not going to, he goes, if they want to win the Super Bowl next year or the year after, they got to get those passing yards up. And we've been saying that. And, that's the thing. I don't know if it's Justin doing it where he's more comfortable running at this point, or he's just, because we know he's really only comfortable with Cole Kmet and Mr. Mooney. So those are his 2 favorite targets. We know that.
Right.
But, and people are like, where's Claypool? He's been there 2 weeks. Give him a break. I mean,
it's strange that he had more targets his first game than his second game, though.
Yes, he did. And, so
he went from 7 targets to 2.
Yes, he did. And I don't get that. I've been liking what the old OC has been doing lately, but then yet he's so good at some things, and then he turns into vanilla. That last drive, I didn't get that at all. So, and everyone said Justin on that last, the 4th down, yes, he should have thrown. And that's where he's still having the problems. He's got to release that ball faster. Like one guy said, even if you got a pass interference, so what? The game was over. Throw the damn ball. Don't get sacked.
I know.
Greg
Gabriel was on the Bottom Network, our podfather, who he was saying that Aldo was saying something to the likes of the offensive line, being an issue. And Greg said, well, the offensive line can't be that bad if they're leading the league in rushing. But they're leading the league in rushing because of their quarterback. They're not leading the league in rushing because they're opening up holes like fucking the Dallas Cowboys offensive line for Emmitt Smith,
Exactly.
Justin Fields is getting 150, 140 plus yards a game, rushing the last couple of games. Plus you're adding to that your running backs. But you look at the last few games, the running backs have done shit compared to what Justin Fields has done on the field.
If
you take that out of the equation, the rushing game isn't that great. It started off hot.
Well,
it did. It was the running backs doing it.
Well, it could still be good, but he's been taking the ball more than giving it to them. So we don't know. But Claypool does need more snaps, you're right. And now that number 24 is on IR, Herbert, so now obviously Montgomery is back up because, Herbert was really kind of the number 1 there for the last few weeks. So Montgomery's back up. And, but yeah, like we haven't had a quarterback doing this since 1972, Bobby Douglas. And Bobby Douglas for the Bears in 1972 led 968 yards. The next guy was their fullback with 600 and something and change. See, but they were bad, and Bobby Douglas couldn't really pass anyway. So, he wasn't that great. But
Justin Fields is on pace to have 1,000 yards rushing this year.
Oh, I think he's going to get it, which, will be cool.
800.
But, he's at 749 right now.
Right.
And
you get one more game like the last one, and he's right. He's close enough.
Yeah, and he'll get it then.
Yeah.
And that would be cool. But again, moving forward into some more of these games, I'd like to see some more passing. I really do. He's got to start. We're not going anywhere. I know, Dan, you used to think we were going to the playoffs. We're going to be 5-12 if we're lucky.
That's right. We have to talk about that. They're not going to be 11. They can't go 11-6 anymore, Lynn. I was wrong.
I know. I've been telling you that.
Telling us from day one.
I've been telling you.
I've been trying to drill it into your head. You're wrong. They're not going.
I know. I hate to tell people that, but you were. I'm saying 5-12. I was saying before 7-10.
10-7 is still possible, Lynn.
Not gonna happen, honey bunch. I'm just praying we beat Atlanta this week, for Christ's sake.
I'm going to that game.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. We forgot to talk about that earlier before we got on the air, because I was like, oh, that's right. I'm like, Dan's going to Atlanta. I'm like, oh, duh, Lynn, he lives in Atlanta.
So I'm going to. So I went to. This will be my third game this year. So
this is your third game, right?
And then the Dolphins, and I came home, and then the Lions game, and now I'm going. So 2 games in 3 weeks, and
that's pretty crazy, but cool.
There's 13 of us going.
You brought us home a win in week 1, not in week whatever it was with the Dolphins game, but maybe you didn't last week or 2 weeks ago. And then
I tried in the Dolphins game though. I really did.
Well, that was the one where everybody was
I usually don't lose too many home games I'm at.
Yeah, well, it's a rough year because they're not going to win too many home games the rest of the year.
Let's see. I've only been to 2 away games. No, wait. I might be wrong about that. But I was at the Denver game in Colorado where what's his name didn't run out of bounds on 4th down or on 3rd down or whatever. It was he's recently passed away. He was the running back that we got from the Cowboys. I'm drawing a complete blank, but he didn't run out of bounds. And we were winning the game, and he didn't run out of bounds because it would have kept the clock going, and he ended up stopping the clock. And then the Broncos got the ball back, and Tim Tebow somehow had his. In fact, we were like, "This game's over. Let's get out of here. Let's leave a little bit early so we can beat the traffic and get home." And we heard on the radio that they lost. We're like, "What the fuck?
What the fuck?" Yeah, exactly.
And then we were at the Falcons game, final season of their stadium, of the Falcons stadium before they moved into Mercedes-Benz.
Right.
And they kicked their ass. And in fact, most of the Falcons fans were gone, and the rest of the stadium was just Bears fans.
Bears fans.
Took the whole place over. And so this is my second game going to Atlanta, and it's going to be Chris Watts. You're a Jinx fan. No, I'm actually not.
Chris, I don't know. I might be with you on this one. If they lose on Sunday, Dan can't go to any more games.
Chris, I was at the famous game where Peanut Tillman in the corner of the end zone swatted the ball down at the end of the game from Randy Moss. I was right there in that end zone watching it happen right there. We won that game. I've been to more wins than I have losses. So
I've been to 2 away games, and they won both of them. Arizona a couple years ago, and there were more Bears fans in there because they even said the Bears fans were. I mean, that's when they gave the game ball, I think, to the fans, because they said it was like a home game. And then I saw them last year here in Raiders, and we won too. But I've always been pretty lucky in Soldier Field. I've seen more wins actually than losses in live. Not. I've seen more losses in my lifetime than wins.
Right, but live you have.
Right, but live I've always been pretty lucky. I think out of all the times I've gone, and there was quite a few. Well, except for like the when they were really bad before they got good in the 80s. Like I remember we went and we had really good seats. A buddy got them from work and nobody was going to the games. And, so we got it. That's right. Because what year did Halas die? Because I killed him, by the way. I got to tell you this story. It's a great story. I don't remember what year. Was that 83, 82?
4.
84?
83
maybe. So we were at the game and we had really good seats. And we were with my husband and me and our friends. And my one girlfriend, she had binoculars. She's just looking at all the guys' asses and having a great time. And we were getting creamed. And then I was sitting, there was a guy across the aisle from me, and him and I all game. We're like, yes, it was before Ditka because Well, maybe it wasn't. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Ditka was probably there, but
Ditka was his first season was 83.
Okay, so maybe he died. Well, no, he hired him, so it has to be 83. Yeah. So I kept saying, you know what, the Bears aren't going to be good. Him and this guy both said it, the same thing. Until Hallis is gone. I said that. Oh, blah blah. And the whole 3 hours. That's all we talked about. Next morning, I'm in the shower, right, and I hear a down on the door, and I'm like, what? My husband's like, you're not going to believe this. I'm like, what? He goes, George Hallis died last night. I said, oh, my God, I killed him. And I'm sure that old man said the same thing. He was probably like, we killed him. So, yes.
Irony, right? Irony. I wanted to answer Cliff's question here. Are we tailgating? What kind of food? This is much different up here, or I should say down here. In Chicago, when you go to a game, they have the whole parking lot that you tailgate in. You get the parking pass for it. In Atlanta, they don't really have a parking lot per se. That's they have a parking garage, but then you can park, a while away. And it's not really a tailgating parking lot. But what they do is they allow people to, I don't know if they have to pay for it or what, but there's pop-up tents all over the place, all around the stadium. So they have these little parking lots everywhere where you can pull in and park. And by the way, they fucking pack you in. If you get out of the game early, you aren't leaving.
Yeah. I used to hate that.
But
that used to happen at the old Comiskey. Yep.
But then right across from you, there could be a tent with TVs in it and people making barbecue and selling beer and shots and stuff. And so they're kind of sprinkled all throughout around the stadium, and you can kind of just walk and run into one and then hang out with all these people and then, buy some food or drinks from them. And they allow it to happen. It's very strange coming from a tailgating Bears fan myself, who did a lot of tailgating,
Yeah, sure, exactly.
But very unique and interesting in its own way. So it's kind of fun.
That is interesting. Well, not everybody gets the tailgate. I mean, they can't do it here in Vegas because they don't really have a parking yet. It kind of they've screwed that up, so they got to figure out what they're going to do about that. So that don't happen here. But
right.
Yeah. So, so I don't know what's going to happen this week. But you know what? There were some bright spots in that game. Although I will say. So afterward, we don't need to talk about the penalties anymore, but I have a strict rule about it.
Yeah, 5 or less. Coach Eberflus is saying we have to move on from the Lions game because they beat us.
Well, Coach, you got to wait a second because I got to make a point. 5 or less, you're in the game or you're going to win it. They had 9 for 86 yards. Detroit had 2. So, and they've been real good this year about it. Where they weren't like the last 4 years where we're averaging 7 or 8 a game last year. So we're much better. But this just proves my point. What I say on my show every week, penalties are going to ruin your game. We're not good enough to overcome them. I watch so much football and I see week in and week out what those freaking penalties do. You gotta, and again, don't put yourself in the position. You won't get the flag. All right, I won't say no more.
Was you? You were the first person I thought of when they had those many penalties. You're 5 and under, and we completely destroyed that. We almost doubled it. And
I was when I usually list them because I take notes during the game, and I'm like, oh my God, we're already past 5, and I thought, oh good Lord, this is not going to be good. And the offense did a couple too, where we got first downs and they were called back.
Right.
So it wasn't all the defense. I mean, there was 9. Everybody put their hand in that one. So you know what? But
it was
let's talk about the one really good bright spot on Sunday was Jack Sanborn, number 57, rookie linebacker. We've talked about him a little bit. We're concerned of his size and if his speed is there, but he had one hell of a game. 12 tackles, 9 solos. I think he had 2 or 3 hurries. And he had an interception. But we all know what happened there. But talk about a game.
Bullshit fucking call.
I know. It was a bullshit call.
Not to get back into the fucking refereeing, but yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was the hands to the face that I was saying on JJ. Don't put your hands even up there, okay? Just wrap them up and tackle them or do whatever. But just keep them down, and that was just sucked because, again, we get that interception, game over.
Right.
Chew up the clock. We're going the other way. Fields again doesn't throw that interception.
Mm-hmm.
Although
he gets the penalty that should have been called against him for the slamming of the ground. That shouldn't have been. It was very unnecessary.
Right. See, and we were close. We were really close to the end zone because we had a penalty on the offense and it pushed us back. So, but the thing about Justin, I will say, people, the last 3 games, he has thrown interceptions in all 3 games. The 2 prior games, they were called back because of penalties. So that was when penalties were in our favor. But but he has. So, but he has turned it around. He has 12 touchdowns and 7 turnovers. So he's turned that narrative around, because before it was, the interceptions were higher then. But there's just so many things that happened before that interception, and it wouldn't have happened. I believe that interception would have never happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do too, Cliff.
This is why I thought they thought that Roquan Smith could be expendable, because I thought maybe they could just figure they could plug and play Jack Sanborn and he'd get 12 tackles, 2 sacks, and an interception. And he did, and
he proved it.
Yeah.
So and he's still very young. He's only, this was his 2nd game. I think he played more in this game than he did the previous start. But and remember, he went undrafted, and he's a homegrown kid, Lake Zurich High School, and he played on the football team with my nephew. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah, my nephew was 2 years younger, but he still played, right, Riley? I'm giving a shout out to him. And so this kid is just going to get more and more and more better, I think. Like we talked about his size. Well, I told you that, there was a guy back in the 80s that called Michael Singletary, and he wasn't a tall dude. But boy,
instincts are instincts. Football,
that's right.
mentality is football mentality. Yeah, if you can play football, you can play football. If you have a nose for the ball,
that's right. And that's why I think that I read that the Bears, the record? I say 5-12.
Chris Watts is your fan from out in Yorkshire, England.
I know.
What do you think the Bears' record will be at the end of the season? Well, Chris, I was predicting 11-6, so I'm wrong.
I say 5-12.
10-7, Chris.
Yes. I was saying before 7-10. Now it's 5-12. That's how I'm
10-7, baby. I'm gonna keep every loss. I'll just go. This is it.
When Dan did his show on Monday night, they do a live on the Barroom Network. I wrote on there, "You guys live." I said, no more 11. What did I say? No more 11-6 or something like that. I was giving you that shit online. I was giving it to you Monday night. Sorry.
That's okay. I mean, if I'm right, at least I would be able to go, "Hey, I was right. Fuck you guys."
But no, and
I can eat crow. It's okay.
I mean, it's, because you think about what we have left: Atlanta, Jets, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Bills. Do we have Detroit in there again? And then Minnesota.
Packers and Detroit. Yep.
Yeah. So, although Philadelphia went down on Monday, look who beat them. I couldn't believe it. That just goes to say what I always say: anybody could be beaten, because they look terrible.
10-7, Chris.
Oh, he knew that I see what Chris is saying. See, he knew I'm in reality. He just wanted to see what Dan had to say. In Dan's little Bears fantasy world.
10-7. Playoffs are still possible. Oh, the fucking Packers.
That's what I love about you, man. Your optimism. I used to have that too, but after, for what, 40, 50 years, you just start to lose it after a while, because you just.
I'm trying it out because I'm doing a podcast. So if I'm thinking if I remain positive,
well,
maybe I can keep people being positive, but at some point, there's going to come a moment that I'm going to just go on a fucking rant and blow up, and everyone's going to be like, "Holy shit, what happened to this guy?"
I can't wait for that.
Being positive, Dan. Go back to being positive, Dan.
Right. Well, it is nicer to be positive than negative. Let's face it. But things that have happened, and but it was a rough game. It really was. And but the other bright spot, as I want to bring up too, as I want to give him a shout out, is Cole Kmet. He's finally being the tight end that we drafted. We thought we were drafting, because he has only scored prior to this year 2 touchdowns, and that was in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's being what we thought, because I was like, really, I wasn't happy when they drafted him at the time because we needed other things. And then I read about him, and I did watch him in Notre Dame because I'm a big college watcher. And I thought, okay, we do need a good tight end. We haven't had one since we shipped the best one off to Carolina. Mm-hmm. And
it would have been the Bears' leading receiver at this point if he retired with those stats.
That's right, because he was awesome, right? But Cole Kmet has got 4 touchdowns this year. He's got 274 yards receiving. So, and
he's
Justin
really
is he's comfortable with them. Justin loves them. So, and that one touchdown was just great, where he was just out there, but I thought to myself, oh my God, it's one of those wide opens. He's gonna drop it. He's gonna drop it.
Oh fuck, he's gonna drop. Oh, thank God he didn't.
Oh, I said, oh God, he caught it. And then I'm like running, my living room going, run.
So was I.
But yeah, Cole Kmet, want a shout out to him, man. He's stepped up, and that's what we really need. We need everybody, all the receivers.
My wife's now in love with Cole Kmet, so.
Oh, I'm digging it. I'm digging it right now, and he could have a really good future here. Mm-hmm. And he's another homegrown. He's from Arlington Heights.
Yep.
And I grew up in Prospect Heights, which was right around the corner from there. So
he has to succeed. He has to be a stud for the Bears. I know he's not a Travis Kelce. You can tell that in his hip movement, but
he's a
little stiff compared to him. But he's a big fucking guy, and he can
block too. He's a good blocker.
He can just get open, get the ball in his hands.
Yes, let him go and do what he does.
Very exciting to see. That should. Cliff says also, I'm expecting the Bears to sign a 3 to 4 stars from free agency, a good draft, and then it's playoff time. Yes,
I'm hoping so, Cliff. Yeah. We need it. He's going to have a good draft. We know that because his first draft was pretty damn good for a guy first time doing it. There's a few we're not sure about, but for the most part, I'd say he did great.
Greg Gabriel, who was a scout for the Bears, was the director of player personnel for the Lovie Smith era. He had a hand in drafting Devin Hester and all that. He says that he is a blue chip player, and all of his intangibles, he's going to be a fucking stud in the future. And I tend to agree with that. He's got the long arms. He just has to learn the game, and you can't learn without playing.
And you have to play.
He also had a good quote from Marv Levy, who said, I'm sorry, not Marv Levy, the Buffalo Bills head coach for all those years.
That's Marv Levy.
Yeah, Marv Levy. Okay. I'm thinking the announcer.
I think his name is Marv, isn't it?
Marv Levy. Yeah, Marv Levy said, let rookies be rookies.
Yeah.
And
yes,
the same goes for everyone who's a rookie, including Velus Jones. I had a buddy of mine just, oh my God, just ranting like for 20 minutes yesterday about Velus Jones and how they should cut him. I'm like, Jesus
Although
Christ.
He is the odd man out right now. He really is.
They need to start giving him some quick passing plays. Just get the ball in his hands quick and see what he can do.
See what he's got. They scratched him last week. He wasn't even active.
Same thing with Harry. And then they barely even used Claypool.
Yeah, because they put Pringle in. Yeah.
Right.
So
I'm thinking if you get Velus Jones on some quick slants, some crossing routes, some digs, some mesh routes where they cross, and just get the ball into his hands quick and let him run. And get a quick pass where he can catch it on the go and run.
Yes.
And get the kid built up some confidence and then see where you can take it this year, because I'm not giving up on a rookie,
You only have this year to figure it out. So, you got to get them all in there and see what you got. He is the odd man out. He reminds him of Anthony Miller. Okay, sadly. Yeah, I get it. And I like to see him do, but what hurt him in the beginning of the season were those fumbles. And then, that's what really hurt him. And but you know what? He's a rookie. And but
let a rookie be a rookie.
Right, exactly.
Chris Watts asks, do you think we would have lost the last 2 games if we still had Smith and Quinn?
No.
And I'm going to say yes.
No, I'll say no.
I don't think
not necessarily Roquan, but for sure Quinn. Even though Quinn wasn't having a stellar year, he was still being blocked, sometimes double covered, because after a couple games before he left, he started to get his feet under him again, and he started getting closer to the quarterback. because our defensive line is so bad. If we had Quinn out there, I think we would have done much better. I can't guarantee, because they lost that game in the fourth quarter on Sunday due to the penalties, the extra point miss, and the interception. So, and defense did, well, they did and they didn't. They gave up stuff too, but I think they could have won them with Quinn. I know about Roquan, and probably with Roquan, yeah. So, but I'm still happy that they're gone. I thought they were great trades. They were going for the future. So this year's over, as far as
I think we would have still gotten 12 tackles and 2 sacks out of Roquan. So I'm not going to say Roquan, but
right.
I mean,
for sure you would have gotten that many. He was a tackling machine. There's no doubt about it. You know. Yeah.
But maybe Quinn might have made a difference, because that defensive
I think he might have. Actually, he played on Monday night with Philadelphia.
Running.
What?
Goff running the ball like he did made us look stupid.
And I said on my show, we don't got to worry about that. He only has 29 yards, and here he goes. You know, of course, he looked like Ben Roethlisberger out there. Yeah. I mean, but he got the first down, and then he got another 15 yards. You know, I will say that the Detroit Lions players get an Academy Award for that game, because they had faked several of those penalties.
You got to give it to him.
JJ one with the face. That guy was like, and then he fell down. So Academy Award goes to their players, for
absolutely,
God's sake.
man. You got to give it to them. I mean, they won the game.
They did, even though, and they acted like it was their freaking Super Bowl around the sidelines. They're popping champagne, you know. It's like,
other than beating the Packers, then they should. Yeah, I mean, it's
So, you know, they beat 2 people in their division. So, and I mean, they're not going anywhere this year, but they're trying to build like us. They're doing the same thing. They just have to decide who their quarterback's going to be.
And they have that buy-in with that coach too, it seems like. So
yes. He seems like a good coach. Got a big ass nose, but he seems like a good coach. I can't help it. It's like... And you know, the other thing, and a lot of people didn't remember, is that Jenkins was not in that game last week because he was hurt on the line, so that didn't help either.
Yeah, speaking of, I got the injury report pulled up here. Did not participate. Cole Kmet, thigh.
Well, he'll
running
play.
Back, David Montgomery.
He'll play.
He'll play. Tevin Jenkins. Hip.
See, we need him back.
Yeah, he's our best offensive lineman for sure.
Look at Gordon.
Al-Qadim Muhammad, knee, and then Kendall Vildor.
Yeah,
I didn't put down what his injury was. Sorry about that. But they did not participate. And then limited has been Kyler Gordon with a knee, and then Dane Cruikshank. I missed his name. What an asshole. Hamstring, and then IR. That's the biggest.
Oh,
blow.
I didn't even hear he was hurt, but I guess he got hurt on that 50-yard run, the kickoff run, which was awesome, and the Bears scored nothing off of that, which is another disappointing thing. Your kicker gives you the ball at the 50-yard line. At worst, you should get a field goal.
Right. I know.
It's these little things that they need. This is what good teams do. When you get to the 50-yard line, they go right down and they score. Those are those little intangibles that the Bears have got to put together.
That's what a young team does that's what makes a losing young team, or a young team a loser.
We are seeing the blueprint of it this season. Absolutely. But we know it's
special teams. Enough said.
Yeah.
I mean, there could be 4 more wins if not for special teams fucking up the game.
And that shows you how important special teams is. Yep.
I mean, put all 3 of them together to make a winning team.
Yes, you do. You have to have every aspect where you're all playing the same. You're not making the mistakes. Everybody's like, when we got those wins, all 3 aspects were working. And when we beat New England, that was a prime example. All 3 aspects of that game, the teams on that game were great. They didn't have many mistakes. So that's a blueprint for the Bears to go back and look at and see. That's what we need to do every game.
Right.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah. J-Rock, we do need an O-line and a D-line. Definitely.
Definitely a cornerback. We need some more cornerbacks and some wide receiver. We need all 4 of those.
Well, we do. And we've got, right now we have 8. We have 8 picks now, and that could change. We know that. So, but that's pretty good. And we have a first rounder, people, something we're not used to too much lately, the last few years. So,
he could turn those 8 into 14.
Well,
like he turned 5 into 11 last year.
He could. So, if he sees what's out there, what he wants to go get. And in the second round, if you could get another, I know we gave one of our second rounds away, but if we can get another second round and have two, I think would be really great because you can get really good players. And, I don't know about the first round, what they're even going to go at, but all I know is we need a nice young O lineman and then,
or D lineman.
Yeah, either or, those one or two, you got to go, obviously, with the best athlete in some instances, but we just need an offensive lineman so bad. We need a line, And of course, we need the guy we signed in the offseason to stay healthy, and he hasn't, Patrick. Mm-hmm. He's played, what, a half of a quarter at center?
Right, I know.
And then when he was playing guard, he was horrible, Right. But he's not a guard. He's a center.
If there's a center sitting there, if there's a top 5 center sitting there in the draft,
grab him.
Take him. You can't rely on this kid.
No, yeah, exactly. You can't. And if you remember that game, that half quarter he was in, the Bears were looking better on the offensive line when he was at center. I mean, he was out there and he's pointing at stuff. I'm like, oh my God, finally. But
then he's out. You're like, oh fuck, here we go.
He's hurt again. I know. Is he going to be one of the? Is that why the team didn't re-sign him where we got him from? Because they know he's always hurt.
Right.
Yeah. Those are the things. But we'll have to see about that. But
well, moving forward, how do you feel about this? Let's get into the Falcons. How do you feel about this game?
I haven't really looked at their stats yet, but they're 4-6. We know that, so they're very. I'm sure they're very comparable to us. Like I said, except for we know we're number 1 in runs. So, and we're dead last still in pass. 1 at rush, dead last at pass.
Strangely enough, our quarterback is part of why we're number 1 in rush.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And but
I think this is a Justin Fields homecoming game. Really?
Yeah. Well, because he went to Georgia first, right?
Well,
a lot of people don't remember that. They think he's from only Ohio State.
Right, but he grew up in Kennesaw, which is right. It's a prosper of Atlanta. So
right, and then he went to Georgia, and he didn't get playing time, so that's when he went to Ohio State. So, but you're right. So I'm hoping for that. We'll give him some although he's been playing well, except for one or a few mistakes here and there. But for the most part, he's not what lost that game. Even though he threw the interception at the end of the day, that would be like almost on the bottom of what lost that game for us. So Falcons, without really looking at the stats, but I'm pretty sure when I do, it's going to be comparable. I'm going to say they've got them go in and keep penalties under 5. They got to win the time of possession. They lost that last week, and they had no turnovers. So those are the 3 things you need. You can't make mistakes. And if they can do that, they're in it again. So I think they should beat Atlanta personally. But
they better beat Atlanta.
But I thought we were going to beat Detroit. I really did not. I wasn't even worried about that game.
I wasn't either. I thought we had that 34-17. At one point it was 24, or I predicted 35-17. At one point it was 24-17. I said, as long as we hold them here at 17, if we can score 10 more points, I could only be up by 1. And
we almost did, but then we didn't.
I thought we were going to win the game. And
the first 3 quarters, if we can forget about the fourth quarter, we win that game.
I think we're going to win this Falcons game. I do. This is going to be. It's going to be strange because it's going to be a homecoming for Justin Fields coming back to his home city, playing in his own hometown stadium for a team.
Right.
For a team that's going to have the dominant home crowd.
Yes.
Like we are going to overtake that stadium.
Well, I hope
on Sunday.
so.
There's
I expect to hear you,
Dan.
Okay.
We have a crowd of 13 going.
Well, so I want you guys to be screaming, man.
We are. We will be.
Yeah, I mean, it should be good. If they don't, make the mistakes. That's the bottom line with the Bears. And our defense, we know they're going to give up points. They're just not that good. So, but if the offense can keep outscoring that, that's fine. But it would be nice to see the defense step up a little bit, and be like, okay, even it wasn't Eddie Jackson that stepped up this week and said, we got to start helping them out. They're doing their job. We're not. Mm-hmm. And that was what somebody said too, is that since they lost Quinn, he was a real leader in that locker room for the defense, a real leader. And I'm not sure they have that. And I'm not saying that Eddie isn't good, but they need somebody, and maybe it will be Eddie, but then he's really going to have to step up then and take on that role.
Right.
It's important.
They're lacking that leader, right?
Yes, they are.
That's a big
they
point.
Really, really are. That was probably hurt us more, his leadership, than his play on the field.
The defensive line has as many newcomers as it has someone from last year.
Yep.
Our linebacking core is now all new players.
Yep.
Our defensive backfield is, Jalen Johnson and Eddie Jackson are the veterans.
And then you've got
aside from Dane Cruikshank, but he's not even starting, so you're not going to make him a captain. So you're right. It's like there's that little void in leadership right now. But in this void, there's someone that's going to step up and take it over, and I think that's going to happen. We're going to see if we don't just win out and go 10-7, like I'm thinking. Then we could, at the very least, get to a point where we win a few of the last. We could get to the point where we're losing or winning the last few games and build some confidence going into the next season. That's
what we need. I'd like to see that the last couple games, but we got some tough ones, So, and Minnesota, well, you know what? They're going to need to win that game probably on that last game we play in January, whatever it is. So I don't know. We'll see, but that would help. At least positive stuff happening in December. That's what we need to just bounce off of that next year. And that's so important because so many times in the last few years, the Bears have not finished good. And it's just trickled over to the next season. And I don't think Coach Flus would let that happen, but still, they're young. We got to get it in their head, And like Justin, he's like, I don't like this losing shit. He's not used to it. But one thing I wanted to say about Justin, though, I want to give him his props, is after that game, he has to come out and do his, contract work and talk to the media. And he didn't come out for a long, long time. And he finally did. And you got to give this kid props because he said, that was terrible. And you'll never see an interception like that again, period.
And I trust this kid because that's one of the things I've noticed from day one about him is he learns from his mistakes and he doesn't make the same one twice.
Yes, and the fact that he just went out there and owned it, you know what? He has no idea how much people respected him for that because there's a lot of players that's always looking to blame everywhere else. And Cordell Patterson revenge game.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I hope not. But you know what? You're right. He is going to learn. Although it was funny. Well, it's not. It is. The guy who caught that ball and scored that touchdown for the interception was his teammate on Ohio State.
I know.
Yeah.
The one who was thought to be a bust.
Yes. Well, not on Sunday.
Not on Sunday. It wasn't. He must have had a second interception.
Right.
Little fucker.
But yeah, you know what? We'll see what happens. But I think we should beat them.
I think we're going to beat them too.
Oh no, they're not. See,
Cliff says that the Bears are secretly taking a hope they crank it up and destroy Minnesota the last game. Yeah.
Well, I don't think they're secretly tanking. I never believe in that because players have pride, and they're not going to go out there. And some of these players are trying for jobs next year. This is a tryout for them.
Exactly.
And they have incentives in their contract and stuff like that. So
Nobody's
never
taking for shit.
Yeah. No, I don't believe that ever. Because they want to win.
Score prediction. But we're going to get a score prediction, and then we have some Bears trivia coming up in a moment here.
So I'm not a predictor.
Test you guys and see what you guys know about the Bears. So what's your score?
Well, after the last 4 games,
you might as well pick 30-something.
Yeah, and I'm going to go a little higher. I'm going to go 36 to 24.
Ooh, let me write that down.
You stinker.
36 to 24.
Yeah. Well, they're going to give up points.
So you're taking Bears?
Yeah. Oh, of course. And?
I'm going to go. It looks like Chris agrees with you on the score. I don't know. I'm going to go with. I'm
liking this Chris, man.
Yeah,
too bad you're so damn far away, man.
I know. I keep saying we have to start a
Chris. How about you? And I like me an accent.
we got to start a GoFundMe to get him over here.
See, Cliff, I get what Cliff says, but I don't believe only 12 because the defense is so bad.
Yeah.
Because Cliff's saying 31-12. Nah, I wish, but no.
I'm going to go 35-21. 35-21. Cliff has 31-12. I'm not scared of Marcus fucking Mariota.
Oh, me neither.
He's not going to do shit.
No.
They're going to sack him 4 times just because it's Marcus Mariota.
I need field goals in fantasy football.
Damn it, hold on. I gotta knock on wood now. I just jinxed myself.
Oh, yeah, great. There we go, Dan. He's
right,
going to the game, and now he just jinxed us. Great.
Hey, we both picked the win. I'm bringing an entourage with us to the stadium. We're going to overtake that place like we did last time I was there. Bears win. No matter what the score is, we're going to fucking win this game. I promise you guys.
Ooh.
All right, let's get into Bears trivia.
I promise.
Promise you we're going to win this.
Hey, and one other
guarantee it.
I guarantee it. One thing while you're getting the trivia ready, I wanted to do this because I think people would laugh because I know you will, Dan. Dan does a show. Most of you probably know on Monday night, a live broadcast on Barroom Network, and I was writing questions and making fun of Dan and doing all kinds of stuff. So he sent me a link and said, "Come on with us." And I was like, "No, Dan, I can't. I just got high." And Dan's like, "That's okay. I'm high too." And he's like, "You just tell him you're high." And I'm like, so I want to explain real quick. See, I already talk too much now. You put a little high in me, none of you guys would have had a chance. And then halfway through it, I would have completely forgot what I was talking about. So
well, why don't you come on the Barroom on next Monday?
Maybe I will. We'll see. Because I was going back and forth.
If I don't spring it on you the last second.
Well, that was it. I'm sitting, I was chilling,
Oh,
yeah.
Shit, I'm not getting on there right now.
I was like, that's not. I thought about it for a second. I thought, nah, those 3 guys wouldn't even have a chance.
Sorry, guys, I'm just high. I can't stop talking.
And then I'd be like, what am I talking about? What am I talking about? Because I always
I just lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
I know. And I'm not even high, and I forgot a little earlier. Remember, I was like, what was I talking about?
One subject leads into the next one, leads into the next one, the next one. You're like, pretty soon you forgot the first one. You're like, what the fuck am I?
Well,
some people remember where I started.
Old, and my brain is definitely pickled.
Look, you got Chris Watts saying, I'm high right now. And,
right on, Chris.
You got Cliff inviting you on the show.
Oh, thank you,
Cliff.
Cliff.
Show with us on Monday night.
Is this Cliff from Cliff Notes?
Correct.
Oh, hi, Cliff. Cliff Notes.
Yeah.
He called me out on the show a couple times saying, well, Lynn mentioned. I'm like, hey, thanks for this.
We'd love to have you join us on the Barroom on Monday night. We also broadcast from Bears Country Podcast too, but we broadcast from both networks. Right. And Barroom they have a lot more exposure. So that's why we call them the
It's your podcast too. Right. It is. Right.
So yeah, we would love to have you. You should definitely join us. But we'll talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So let's see what kind of
feel free to get high before you come on too. But let's just smoke a joint on air together. How about that?
Oh, that would be fun. Hey, man, it's legal here. I got no problem.
We can pretend it is here too.
Shit, it should be legal in the whole United States, for Christ's sake.
It should be.
Hi, Cliff. Yeah. So,
all right, you want to do some Bears trivia?
Yes, let's get to it.
All right, let's figure out how we're going to do this because we should give everyone like a countdown to give an answer, right? Because I'm thinking about how to do this. Everyone, pay attention to the questions. We want to know what your answers are here, and for anybody watching the show, I guess after it's live, I guess it doesn't really matter because we're going to give you the answers. But I was going to say maybe we could leave them in the descriptions. I don't know the answers, by the way, so I chose not to have the answers ready. So let me just pull up the answers. My friend, he sent me this book. He was on my very first podcast with me, Brian Reberg, and this book just came in the mail. Bears Trivia. I'm like, thank you, my friend. What a great idea! What a great idea for the show,
It is a good idea.
So
very good idea.
Let's test your guys' knowledge out there. How much do you guys know about the Bears? Question 1. There's 5 questions. We'll just do 5 per show for now, so we don't just tear through the book. This is a good one. What color did the Bears wear in the 1920 season because it matched with the Staley Starch Company, the team's sponsor for the first 2 seasons? Is it A, green, B, blue, C, gold, or D, red? What color do the Bears wear in the 1920 season?
This is a pure guess. I say C, but I have no freaking idea. I'm going to say C, but I'm just guessing.
So you're going to say C? What do you guys in chat think? What are your guys' answers in
Dan,
chat?
I'm not that old, okay?
I did this on Monday, and Dan was like, I don't fucking know. I'm not even going to guess.
It was funny. He goes, I don't know that stuff. Bring this into the modern era or something like that. It was pretty funny.
All right, we got Cliff saying red. We got J-Rock saying gold. We got Chris Watts saying green. And anybody else want to take a guess before we give you the answer? I need to get a like a do like a maybe I can go to like
All right, well, but you didn't answer it, Dan.
How about this? We'll do like a little timer.
There you go. Well, what's your answer, my man?
Well, my answer was gold.
Oh,
I actually do know this answer because I did see this one from the other day. I originally guessed gold, but the answer is D, red. Cliff, you are correct.
Nice.
Fucking red. Who would have guessed they would have worn red?
I know.
Yeah, threw me off
well.
too.
That was the 1920s. Yeah. No TV.
It was like one season.
Right.
Next question. The Bears famously shared Wrigley Field with the Chicago Cubs from 1921 to 1970. The friendly confines unofficially holds the record for the most NFL games hosted for a single franchise. How many games did the Bears play on the north side? A, 324, B, 330, C, 335, D, 342. I do not know the answer to this one. I'm going to say...
Well,
because they only played a certain amount of games.
A calculator, I might be able to figure it out, but I don't.
Yeah, but you have to go back to how many games did they play?
Well, that's
and
exactly.
How many seasons?
Because in 1970, they were still at 14 games, weren't they? Yes. And then they were at 12 before that, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we don't know. Yeah, so.
They could have been 9 before that at some point.
I'm going to say, because 24 is my lucky number, I'm going to say A.
Okay, Lynn's got A, 324. We've got Cliff, no idea on this one. King Pookie says 335. Plank says he doesn't know.
Nor do I, Cliff.
Chris Watts agrees with you on 324, and J-Rock says C, 335. I'm going to guess... Oh, God.
I know what you're going to guess.
It has to be 300 and... Well, if Hallis, how many wins did he have? That's a number that we should know. That's probably in the trivia later. I'm gonna guess 330. B.
I knew you were gonna pick B. I knew it.
Let's see who's right.
I was right there, but
I was right. 330.
I'm gonna have to get that book and study.
I promise I didn't look at it. The previous one I did know, but I don't know this. So who else guessed?
Cheater.
So King Pookie guessed A, so you were correct, or he guessed B, so you and I were both right.
Boo.
All right, we got 3 more. Ready? And by the way, this stream is also on audio pod, so this should be fun for people who are driving in their car listening to this kind of shit. If you are listening, we appreciate you. Thank you very much. Question 3. In what year did the Bears debut their trademark C logo on their helmets? A, 1962, B, 1965, C, 1973, or D, 1978?
Well, I've got one from the 60s right here. And it's signed. So So I got to remember when that guy. I'm going to say B.
1965.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got Plank saying 1962. We have Lynn saying 1965. Chris Watts says 1962. Cliff Victoria says 1965. Oh, so J-Rock says A, 1962. I'm going to go with A. I think it's 1962. Yeah, let's go with that. Let me look here. I'm right again. A, 1962.
He was on the Bears that early? Wow, okay.
Yeah, because I remember, didn't they win the championship in 63 or something?
Yes.
So, and they had the C on their helmet then. That's how I remember that.
Good memory. I was alive then. I should have known that. I didn't watch them then, but
a child.
I was a kid. Yeah, I wasn't that old. Okay. Well, in 62, I would have been 5. Now everybody knows how old I am.
Yeah, you're my mother's age.
1958. I was born.
To me, you're like Auntie Lynn.
Hey, that's what everybody calls me in my family. Look at you.
I call all my aunts aunties. Auntie Lynn, or Auntie Debbie.
Everybody calls
Auntie
me. Even my cousin's kids call me aunt. It confuses the hell out of people. They're like, "Wait a minute, she's not your aunt." And they're like, "Well, we just call her that."
All right, that's what you are. You're Auntie Lynn now.
Right, that's me.
By the way, I fucked up again. I wanted to introduce the show as you as Jennifer Aniston again. I fucked that up.
No,
I'm losing time on that. I can't. My window is past. All right. Question number 4. Which was the first decade without the Bears winning a championship? The 1930s, A, B, 1950s, C, 1960s, or D, 1970s? Which was the first decade without the Bears winning a championship?
I say D.
That's a good one. What do you guys think? We got a Cliff says D. You say D. Plank says B. Chris Watts says D. I'm going to guess the 50s. I'm going to guess B. All right, let's take a look. Fucking A. I'm good.
You're cheating.
I promise you I'm not cheating.
You guys know he's cheating, right?
I promise you I'm not cheating. I'm not a cheater. I told you the first one I knew the answer on. I was
just messing with you. So it was 19. It was B?
Yeah, and the reason why I thought this is because I remember them winning a championship in the not winning a championship. I remember them winning a championship in the 30s. I can't remember one in the 50s. I remember the 60s.
And I know the 60s.
Not the 70s. But I think the 70s.
But what did they win in the 70s?
They didn't win one in the 70s, but I'm saying it was too late to be the first time they didn't win one in a decade. Because I knew they won one in the 30s.
Trick question. Okay. Because I know they didn't in the 70s, because then I was finally watching them then.
You'd have been like, oh, I was a little too much weed then.
Yeah.
I was seeing stars.
Maybe I got one right so far today. That's it.
So everyone who guessed B, you are correct.
Yes, you are.
And the final question, here we go. What was the Bears' first regular season opponent as the home team at Soldier Field in 1971? A, the Green Bay Packers, B, the Pittsburgh Steelers, C, the Detroit Lions, and D, the Cleveland Browns. Guys, what do you guys think in chat?
I say A.
I'm thinking A myself.
Because they always like putting the Bears, making them face those fucking Packers the first game.
No shit.
Oh my God.
They have to make this. They always have to make it historic so the fucking Bears can lose to the Packers and that
the very first game. Yep.
So we have let's see. I think Plank is saying B. Chris Watts is saying D. Cliff Victoria says D. J-Rock says D. Cleveland Browns, huh? So you're saying A.
Mm-hmm.
Plank is saying A. Everyone else says D. I'm going to go with. I feel like if I say the Pittsburgh Steelers and I'm right, you're going to think I'm cheating.
No, we're not.
So
well, pick what you think. I mean,
I'm going to go. The Steelers were The Steelers are pretty good then, right?
In the 70s they were. They won 4 Super Bowls.
In the early 70s, were the Steelers better?
No, I don't think so because they drafted what's his name in the 72? Terry Bradshaw?
Yeah, somewhere around there. So they weren't that. Okay, so the Packers were good in the. I'm going to say the Packers. All right, let's get the answer here.
Yeah, let's see.
Fuck! I knew it was the Steelers. God damn it!
You know what? It's funny you say that because that was my first choice, but I'm like, no. But they were both bad teams.
Obvious, right?
Yeah.
None of us. Well, J-Rock was right on that one.
Oh well.
Good job, J-Rock.
We all gotta work on our trivia.
Maybe as we build towards like 500 subscribers, we can give away a free Bears Country podcast to the 500th. You know, after we hit, maybe that we'll make that a goal. We hit 500 subscribers. We'll do a trivia and give away a Bears Country podcast T-shirt. How about that?
There you go. And maybe the other person that's on that show with you, namely me, would get one.
Yes, and yourself, of course.
This book sucks, Cliff says. It does, Cliff. I agree with you.
What's nice about the book, though, is it progresses through time. So as you get towards the end of it, you're talking about more modern day questions that involve like Matt Forte and players that
ones we've all have a better chance at,
a better memory of. Yeah.
Right, Tom. But that's funny. So
that's fun. I think it's fun playing that. I hope you guys like that.
I know. Maybe I'll do that on my show. Mine are live. I could do one at the end of the show, each show, and then they can write in the comments.
Put in the comments what's the answer, and then you'll reveal the answer. I'll put it in the description at the end of the week or 24 hours later or something. That's something I kind of thought of playing with. But then it wouldn't be fun if we didn't know what the answer was, you know?
True.
So I almost thought about doing like just a Bears trivia to where I just come on and ask 5 questions, end the podcast, and then put your answers in the description, and then I'll post it the next day or something
exactly.
like that.
Well, how many subscribers do you have?
444.
Ooh, you're close.
It was 446. I lost 2.
I know. I do that. I look. I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I did this yesterday. What jerk unsubscribed to me?
I gotta look. Which fucking video did I lose a subscriber on? God damn it.
I know. You know. Hey, I hope I try not to insult anybody. You know, believe me, I wanted to say a few things, but I don't because I don't want to lose people. You know, because everybody's so damn touchy nowadays. You can't say anything.
I know. You never know who you're going to offend or.
But
you never know who you're going to make a fan of either. So
nowadays, especially, so I keep it very Bears.
Just be yourself, and everything else will happen.
Right. I just try to, be happy and make people laugh. Get to the modern day, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
He's right.
Well, that's happening, Cliff, because I've been making all these videos that I've been posting on Bears Country Podcasts of like Justin Fields every play, David Montgomery every play, and that's helping me to remember the game because now I'm rewatching all these plays, and it's helping me to remember them, and I can remember a lot of plays from the last several games, so that's good.
Right? Yes, it will. So I don't know. We'll have to see what's going to happen on Sunday, right?
Yeah, we will see. It's going to be a lot of fun, and we're a crew of us going down there. Everyone's coming in on Saturday. It's going to be a lot of fun.
It's a new 1:00 game for you guys, right?
1:00 game for us, yeah.
Right.
We're taking an Uber to the MARTA, which is like the Metro Atlanta train. Or rail or whatever the fuck it is, but it doesn't go everywhere like the train system in Illinois. We just hopped on Fox Lake train and took it to Chicago for the Dolphins game. It was great.
Yes.
Yeah, right. Of course you did. So,
although it took you forever, it was like an hour and a half ride.
You can hammer them down.
Yeah, I usually was hammered by the time I got off the damn train. Actually, I sprained my ankle once going off a train.
10:30 in the morning. Oh, fuck. Can we find some breakfast?
I know. Well, we were going home from the game, and we were all loaded we're getting on the train, and I said to my sister, and everybody, I know this is bad, but I smoke. on and off throughout the years. And I was smoking. I'm like, I got to have a cigarette. She goes, do not get off this train to have a cigarette. And of course, I missed the last step, sprained my ankle, and badly.
I told you not to get off that train and smoke a cigarette.
Like, I told you you would regret it. All right. You bet you were right.
Well, I used to go every day. I took the train to the Union Station and I walked from there to Michigan Avenue to go to art school at the American Academy of Art. And I turned 21 when I was there. And everyone took me out after school for drinks and I got fucked up. And I walked back to the train station and I get on the train and I used to get up under the top and sit all the way at the back. And I'm sitting up there and I'm like, 5 minutes goes by, 7 minutes goes by. I'm like, there's nobody getting on this train. I'm like,
no, you got on the wrong train.
Well, I'm like, well, it gets even better. I'm like, I better smoke a bowl. And then I'm like, as I'm holding it in, I'm like, this was a bad idea. What am I going to do with this now? You know, it's like, nobody can smell it if I blow it into my shirt, you know. And then nobody's on the train. Nobody's getting on the train. And a few more minutes, I'm like, I'm on the wrong fucking train. So I got off the train. I walked over to the next one. I was like, oh shit, this one's about to leave in 5 minutes. Thank God. I got on. I had to smoke a bowl on a train and get away with it. It was fun. A lot of fun.
I love it. You know, you never know. We could have been on the same damn train going to the same game at the same spot.
We could have been. I'm telling you, I had to have made you food at Sammy's at some point.
You know, we crossed each other's paths. You know we did.
Didn't even know it.
It's just too inevitable. All this symmetry that we've got going here, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's something else that you said earlier that I never got to touch on. I forgot what it was, but it just reminded me. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe you. Yeah, that's right. You were there too, or whatever it was. It's like the town next to us.
Right.
We grew up town
miles apart from each other. I mean, who would think, right? Thank you, Chris.
Miles. Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
He just gave us a good show. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chris. We appreciate you.
Yeah, we do.
Well, I guess we should wrap this shit up. We're going
on
an
hour
and 12, so.
Oh, boy. Whew.
We're going to win this game. We have the entourage going to it. We're going to overtake the stadium. Trust me, guys. Chris, enough of the negativity. We're going to win because of me. We won because of me at the Niners game. We almost won because of me at the
Better,
Falcons
man.
game. Wait, we should have got blown out. If it wasn't for me being there, Chris, we would have got blown out. So put it that way. Now we're going to play the Falcons. We're going to smoke them. I'm going to say we're going to smoke them.
Okay. Don't make me come to Atlanta. So, and you know,
I won't
rip your arm off and beat you with it. Okay. So we better win this game.
Well, Lynn, why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
Yes, I am on Monday and Fridays. You can catch me on YouTube and Let's Talk Chicago Bears. So it's a little bit different show than ours, and me and Dan's. I'm by myself. I'm a little more facts, and I just tell you how they're going to win or why they lost. It's basically what I do. And, you know, I got to get back to telling stories. Last year this is my third season, and I used to tell funny bear stories, and I got a million of them. So I got to get back to that because I'm old, so I got a lot of good ones.
Get them out there. Get them out on video.
I know I should because I got some good ones.
Well, make sure you guys check her out because her channel's awesome. I make sure I listen to you I didn't get to listen to you this week. I'm sorry. I was too busy with other stuff, but I'm planning on it still.
Well, I'll just tell you, I was pissed. So I was pissed on Monday. So
it doesn't help being down too. You're like, I don't want to listen to all this shit.
Well, and I was real sick over the weekend. I had gotten I had a terrible show on Friday and I couldn't figure out what was wrong with me. Well, by the Friday evening, I was like, oh my gosh. Saturday, I had 101 temperature. I was laying out on the couch. I could not move. I don't know what I had. I just had some bug, I guess. And I was fine by Sunday night. But yeah, that's
like the bug I had a couple weeks ago. I was just down for 3 days.
Yeah. So
no temperature, but I was nauseous as
God, I was like, what the hell is going on here? You know? So by that, you know, so I was feeling kind of crappy Sunday, and then that loss. Oh, I was just ready for that show on Monday.
Oh God, I bet. Yeah. Oh, I have to go. I have to make sure. I'll watch that tomorrow while I'm working. I promise.
There you go.
Now I want to hear that now.
You know, I've been madder. That's for sure. In the past seasons when that idiot was our coach before, by Cliff. But yeah, believe me, last season. I ranted every week. I mean, I was going like mad. So, but yes, we should go. So, Dan,
you're gonna rant about a win on this coming Monday.
Oh, well, I hope so.
Yes. Well, you will. I can promise it. I already guaranteed it for you.
I will be like, okay, Dan isn't a jinx and everything, so I'll call you out. But have a great time. Have a great time.
We're gonna have a blast, and we're gonna win. And thank everyone for joining us today.
Yes,
in
thank you.
chat.
We love you.
Appreciate all of you so much. Make sure you check out Lynn. Excuse me. Check out Lynn on her channel.
Thank you.
Let's Talk Chicago Bears. If you like this content, please make sure you like and subscribe. Get over to Lynn's channel, like and subscribe her as well. And until next time, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Bears!